Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. How are you all doing? I'm doing pretty damn good. Jeff Iafrate. How do I explain this? He's late. He's late. Look, how much of it is his fault? I don't know. I'll show you the screen, the text. 8:27 arrival. Apparently, there's 20 minutes worth of traffic logging here on 696. I don't know what the hell's going on. All I know is us people in Michigan, you got to figure out how to drive better, guys. What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm sure you all watched the Monday night game. Matthew Stafford, rough. Oh, my God. That Lions pick looking better and better from the Rams. Even if they make the playoffs, let's say they're a 10-7 team, or 9-8 and they sneak in the wild card. That is still a pretty decent pick. It's better than 32, but like it was last year. So, I mean, you have that to look forward to, Detroit Lions fans. But overall reaction, to be honest with you, I watched that game yesterday, and I sat there and I said, my God, that defense is good enough to get them back to the NFC Championship. And they, meaning the San Francisco 49ers. Wow. Nick Bosa, early Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Phenomenal performance. Unbelievable job. It is very difficult. And look, I think also the direction we're going to go this morning, and a lot of people who were wrong about Matthew Stafford last year are now, oh, well, that's the guy. Pick six. That's the guy I know. And look, I'm well past the Matthew Stafford talk. We haven't had it all year. I'm not going to continue it. It's irrelevant. It's done. It's over with. What happened, happened. And the reality is the Rams are inexperienced at the offensive line position. They're not good at all. They have no run game. Cam Akers, awful. Darrell Henderson, awful. Allen Robinson looks like garbage. And Cooper Kupp is the only legitimate threat outside of Tyler Higbee, who is Tyler Higbee. Sean McVay, figure it out. Matthew Stafford, figure it out. I can write up all the excuses in the world. Figure it out. Great coaches, great quarterbacks, they figure it out. That's simple. So that would be my message to the Rams. But to be honest with you, I hope you don't figure it out. I hope you continue to suck. Some Lions will get a second pick, and it'll be pretty good. So I'll take the 2 first-round picks. I'll enjoy it this morning. Fish, appreciate you for showing up on time today. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it as always. My goodness, we got Fish in the technical booth this morning. How you doing, Fish?
Doing good. Trying to just enjoy life. We have Champions League today, which you're probably not going to watch.
Group stage, right?
Yeah.
Knockout doesn't start till what, like February?
Yeah.
When does the World Cup start?
November 20th is the first game, Sunday. Super excited.
What's the USA's group again?
England, Iran, Wales, and
Ukraine?
Who?
I think Ukraine, right?
No, it's Wales, England, USA, and Iran.
Wales, England. Wales and England? That's a hard group. Are you sure? I could have sworn it was Ukraine, Iran, the U.S., and somebody.
Well, it could have been Ukraine if they beat Wales.
Yeah, let me check. I'm losing. Oh, you're right. It is Wales. That is a hard group.
Yeah, but England's been looking bad lately.
And what do they always do? They figure it out at the World Cup.
Do they?
I mean, they'll figure it out, buddy.
Okay.
Way too much talent. Having said that, thank you all for joining us this morning. Jeff Iafrate should be joining us shortly. I think the early reaction, for me at least, from the Monday night game was, I think the Niners are legit. I don't think there's any other way to say it. That defense is exceptional. They play football the way you would love to see a lot of teams in the league play. Physical up front. Jeff Wilson able to run the football. Deebo Samuel out of the backfield. Juszczyk out of the backfield. Their fullback getting involved. George Kittle had 2 catches last night. 2 catches last night. Didn't matter. They're so talented. Deebo Samuel, my goodness, that would be in my opinion, his breakout performance of the season. That was really good to see. We got a jam-packed show today. I am so excited. I am very excited. We got Anthony Broom coming on at 8:45. We got DoseOfDion joining us at 9:15. 8:15, just in a few minutes, we'll get to Dan Campbell, his comments on the defense, simplifying the defense, taking a step back. Dan Orlovsky put out a video, I want to say this morning, looking at their single high safety set when Okudah was burnt by DK Metcalf, I believe on 2nd and 14. And Dan Orlovsky, paraphrasing here, but his comparison was, I feel like I'm watching Matt Patricia's defense all over again. That is so concerning. That is so concerning. But we'll get to that at 8:15. 8:30, Josh Pascal, Jerry Jacobs back. What does that do for the defense? Dan Campbell's already mentioned shifting up personnel, how important that is for the team. At the top of the hour, whenever Jeff gets here, we'll give away our top 10 teams in the NFL. And then, of course, at 9:30 later on in the show, Jared Goff. We have to continue this conversation about Jared Goff. I was told, again, that he couldn't be a serviceable bridge. I'm not asking for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. Granted, his pace is ridiculous at the moment. All I'm asking for is good quarterback play, and you've gotten more than that. So that's ideal. But let's wrap up Monday night. I'm sure you all had fantasy implications. I'll walk you through mine. I am sitting in my garage, enjoying a smoke and some coffee. Have my friend over, him and his wife in the garage.
Why not the house?
What do you mean why? Because we have a like portable fire pit, one of those propane ones.
Okay.
You put it in the garage. It was nice weather outside. It's
It was.
Michigan fall weather.
Yep.
You put it on. The garage is kind of cozy. You sit down. Everything's cool. So that's why.
Okay.
So we're sitting and we're getting ready to watch the football game. And you know what? I took a hard look at my team, Fish. And I say to myself, I don't like my situation. Javonte Williams just got hurt. You know what? Lamar Jackson, he's not going to put up 48 points a game like he has been. How about I look into getting a trade, right, Fish? And what happens? I text somebody in the league and I tell him, hey, what do you want for Dalton Schultz? Because I am struggling at tight end. He tells me, Dalton Schultz? I don't want anybody. I said, what about Kirk Cousins? And he laughs at me and tells me, F off. I said, no, seriously, put together a trade package for Dalton Schultz. I need a tight end. And he tells me, you know what, Adam? Are you interested in trading Lamar Jackson? And I looked to my buddy and I said, I'm going to fuck this guy. I am going to fleece the hell out of him. And I texted him. I said, I am interested, but it has to be a very good offer because I love Lamar Jackson, and I don't. So he sends me an offer. He was not forced to do this. And by the way, a little backstory, I am part of the trade commission group in our league. So I do have say whenever I'm not involved in a trade. So I'm working my magic, and he offers me Kyler Murray, Dalton Schultz, Alvin Kamara. For Lamar Jackson, Cam Akers, this is before the game, Cam Akers and Dawson Knox on the contingency that Akers doesn't get hurt. I looked at my buddy. I said, you put that in the trade commissioner group and you find a way to get it passed for me because nobody is going to agree to this. So there's 3 people. They take an honest vote. The first one says yes. The second guy says no. And the guy that I am sitting next to has no choice but to agree on it. No choice but to agree. So I turned Lamar Jackson into Alvin Kamara, who has been below average this year, but we'll see if he has upside. But more importantly, I got my tight end, and I got Kyler Murray. Oh, by the way, D-Hop is on my bench. I can't wait for the rest of this season. Good morning, Alex. How you doing, buddy? How's traffic?
What's going on? It was,
what do you take, 696?
Yeah, it's great.
All right,
this
so
morning.
apparently Jeff is stuck there too. He's not going to be here till like 8:30. I don't know what kind of crash or who's driving. Maybe Matt Patricia's driving. Maybe it's the hippos out on the road. I don't know.
Could be.
But something's wrong.
Yep.
That's all I know.
You guys got to plan to be here earlier next time.
I wouldn't address the room as you guys. I think you look across the room, you see the guy right there, first of all. Second of all, then you point to Jeff when he gets here.
It's 2 out of 2.
All right, not including me.
I don't want to hear it, Fish.
Okay.
Look, Dan Campbell, by the way, on 97 won the ticket earlier this morning with Stoney and Jansen. Kind of doubled down on the idea of, hey, we're looking to simplify the defense. We're looking to take a few steps back here. We're trying to make everything simple so we don't get burnt. And I'm just thinking to myself, I mean, you guys heard me yell yesterday. I'm not asking for a top 10 defense. I'm just asking for below average. Hell, give me bad. A bad defense, you could be 3-1 right now. And I am concerned with coaching. I just am. And that's not just on Dan. It's Aaron Glenn as well. Aaron Glenn deserves all the heat coming this week. But, guys, let's all be honest with each other. How do you push away criticism? How do you get people to forget about your past mistakes? You win football games. Unfortunately for this team, even if they win on Sunday, they're still below 500. They would be 2-3. Granted, 2-3 at this point, you'll take it going into the bye week. But this is a team that's on pace to win 4-5 games at most. And it's very, 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 very frustrating. Not because, oh, I wanted them to win the division or I thought they would make the playoffs. But when you watch that football team, guys, you and I both agree. We watch the same team. You and I watch the same games. We all know that's a 3-1 football team. With better coaching, that's a 3-1 football team. Dare I say 4-0. I don't want to hear it's a talent issue. It is a coaching issue. And whether you want to start with Aaron Glenn, Dan Campbell, I really don't care this morning. I don't. I think Aaron Glenn, rightfully so, deserves all the heat and pressure this week. But you and I have watched the same games. They're a better football team than what their 1 record indicates. And 2, they have no business being the most prolific team in the NFL on offense and historically the worst team in NFL history through 4 games on defense. I couldn't even try to do that. I don't know how you try to give up 48 points in the game. They found a way. That is insane to me. So look, we got a jam-packed show. I'm excited. We get Dion on at 9:15. Anthony Broom to talk about Michigan football at 8:45. Let's just call it what it is with Michigan football. They look damn good. They look poised to make another Big Ten run. I like what I'm seeing out of them. J.J. McCarthy's first Big Ten start on the road at Iowa. Handled business. Can't wait to talk to Anthony about that. But we got a lot more coming up in just a bit. But before we do, I got to tell you about Planet Fitness, your home of a judgment-free zone, the official studio sponsor of the Woodward Sports Network. You can see the logo right behind me and really all around this beautiful studio. Planet Fitness is your go-to choice, whether you want to visit them at one of their many Metro Detroit locations or you want to check them out at planetfitness.com. Either way, you can get started today for only $0 down, $10 a month. Your fitness is essential.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
And we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Thank you all for joining us over at woodwardsports.com. To all of you in the Woodward Sports chat, I see you. I hear you. We're going to open up the lines in just a little bit for you to call in. But before we do, you know what? Start calling in. Let's get the queue rolling. 313-552-6322. Alex, feel free to pin it in the Woodward Sports chat. I want to hear from you guys. So give me a few minutes. I'll share you a little bit on where I'm at with this defense, Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn. And I want you guys to call in, whether it's with a question or your thoughts on this defense. But the reality is, moving forward right now, Dan Campbell and this defense, Aaron Glenn as well, winning football games in the NFL, I think we all agree, difficult. It's already difficult enough, right? And you don't want to be the team that shoots yourself in the foot, whether it's bad coaching decisions, turnovers, mistakes, whatever it may be, poor execution. When you have an offense that goes out there and puts up 45 points, and I hate to repeat myself, I don't like doing it, but when you have an offense that puts out 45 points, and they put up 140 points through 4 games, a 35 point per game average, highest in the NFL. When your football team has scored the most points in the NFL and also now given up the most points in the NFL, and somehow, some way, if I would have told you before the season, through 4 games, they would have 140 total points scored through 4 games, you would have looked at me and said, Adam, what? Are you kidding me? 3-1. That's what you would have told me. Am I wrong? And they're the opposite. They're 1-3. They're 1-3. And it is somehow, some way, it is only the Lions that find a way to do these things. It is the Lions that find a way to set these records, to create records we had never heard of. The most total points scored and given up through 4 games. I didn't know that was a thing until after Sunday. And that is concerning. That is everything. And look, I don't think I'm ready to have a conversation about this is all on Dan Campbell. I told you guys, I stay true to my word. Late November, you'll hear my opinion on it. But don't be upset when on a week-to-week basis, you ask me to share my thoughts on this team and this coach. Right now, they are a poorly coached team. That's it. They are not less talented than some of the middle of the pack or even below average teams in the NFL. There are much worse rosters in terms of talent than what the Lions are. And you've seen it at times, right? You've seen them put together some really damn good games. Failure to close them out, turnovers, mistakes from the coaching staff, inability to execute, the defense, whatever you want to put it down to. That's the concern. So the people are calling in. We'll start with David this morning. David, you, my friend, are on the Morning Woodward Show. How you doing this morning, buddy? You're from Grand Haven.
I am doing great, Adam. Yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for asking.
So my question for you is, how is Dan Campbell supposed to make a right decision ever when the defense is as bad as it is? It's literally impossible. There's 0% chance of him ever making a right decision when the defense can't hold up their end of the bargain.
Well, let's go prior to Seattle, okay? We saw them get burnt by Philly, which I think the reality is Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, a lot of weapons on that team. They put up the amount of points they did they followed it up with a good performance, a shutout in the first half against Washington. You saw some really good things, and then going into week 3 against Minnesota, they played very good defense for 4 quarters, almost. And then at the end, we all saw what happened. They threw away the game, etc., etc. So even going into Seattle, David, the issue I have is if they would have given up 31, 28, all right, fine. Like, well, we're having a different conversation this morning, and they probably win the game. But they didn't. They gave up 48. And one, I didn't see that coming. Number two, you know, again, I have to hold people accountable, David. You know, whether you work at Macy's or GameStop or KFC, you don't hold the individuals that you put in place accountable at the end of the day. It's always, hey, who's my CEO? In the NFL, it's your head coach. And again, I still think it's too early for any Campbell, you know, roll his head off the table talk. I think it's way too early, but you have to be concerned that, well, last year we had to deal with this with Anthony Lynn, and I could argue last year's offense was way less talented than what the defense was this year. If anything, the defense got better than it was last year. And what we're seeing is players like Brockers, Harris, Anzalone be about as useless as really I am to this football team. So my concern, David, isn't Dan Campbell, can he figure it out? It is, we are 4 games in, and the course of action we are taking is we're going to simplify the defense.
I guess they got to take the at this point. I mean, giving up 48, there's nothing you can do but a hard reset.
Yeah, I get it. And look, when you give up 48 points the way you did, that is disheartening, right? It really hurts the locker room a little bit. The coaching staff looks themselves in the mirror and says, how did we allow this to happen? And again, I do look at the head coach. What halftime adjustments are you making? What are you doing to put these players in the best position possible? But David, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much.
All right. See you, Adam. Have a good one.
You too, buddy. Let's go to Steve out in, what is it, Slilik, Michigan? I've never heard of that in my life. Steve, where the hell are you from?
Flat Rock.
Flat Rock? Jesus Christ, Fish, what'd you have on here, buddy? Steve, you're on the morning show.
Right,
What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm doing great.
This is going good, man.
All right, so this will take a little bit, but I was actually looking at, like, comparing apples to apples and looking at how the Lions did against the Eagles last year. Commanders were Patricia on the prior year because we didn't play them last year. Vikings last year and Seahawks. And our defense actually is playing better against those teams than they did last year. We're actually showing a slight improvement in points scored. So I'm not as discouraged as I was Monday. But, you know, to me, the bigger issue is it's like compounded. I think it's game 5 coming up of year 2 in a rebuild. And there's only so many draft picks and only so much cap space for Holmes to work with. So we still have holes. You know, we've got a really young team, new scheme. So I'm like, you know what? I just needed to stop on the Hard Knocks hype, back off, give them time, and expect that we're going to struggle.
Well, can I ask you something, Steve? Because I don't think you're being unreasonable. I think you're being very fair. But this is the NFL. This is the most parity league we have in all of professional sports. Every 2-3 years, you should be able to win your division. That is how the NFL is set up, with the high draft picks, with the way the salary cap is structured. There are so many ways you can turn it around. And oh, by the way, coaching matters. And if I would have told you that Kyle Shanahan, even Sean McVay, Andy Reid, one of these guys, one of these top 10, top 12 coaches in the NFL, that they were your head coach, we're having a different conversation this morning. And where I want to go with it and ask you is, okay, how much of it is we need to give them time, and how much of it is, you know what, I am seeing clear coaching, I would say, letdowns or moments where that you can't just have it. You can't have it at all. Again, I think you're reasonable to say, I'm going to give it the year. I'm going to let them progress. But how much pressure does Dan Campbell have going into year 3 if we go on your model where, hey, you know what? We're going to take a step back here, 5-6 wins, and let's see how it goes year 3. I'm giving up a 3-year lifespan of my life for another 3 years of no success, no division titles, no playoff wins, and that's how we got to 58 years. It was every 3-4 years, and then every 5, 6, 7 years, and then, you know what, we finally realized Patricia wasn't going to work, Caldwell didn't work, Schwartz, whoever it was always like, hey, we'll give him another year, and never worked. I don't want to fall into that same trap, Steve.
Yeah, I hear that, you know, and I think Schwartz and Mayhew got close. I mean, right, that Dallas team in 2014 that we lost on the stupid call, that was a team that could have done something in the playoffs, and they were there for a little bit. And then, of course, dumb decision to go with Quinn and Patricia. In retrospect, it's easy to see that. But, you know, it's just, I feel like because when Quinn and Patricia came in, they cleaned house, and they were bringing in Patriot Way scheme-specific guys that don't really work anywhere else in the NFL. It left us in a much worse position than a normal rebuild. So we had to go from big, slow linebackers that are just, most people don't go that way in the NFL. You know, it's the Darius Leonards. It's the smaller, faster guys that can cover ground. That's the modern NFL in the passing game. And so I think that our defense especially was left in really bad shape personnel-wise, and we just haven't put a lot of assets into it, right? We've got Okudah, who's effectively kind of like a rookie. We've got Hutchinson and Rodriguez that are rookies, and they're some of the best performers on our defense right now. I do agree there are certain guys, Brockers, not performing. I don't know why we're not giving Benito Jones developmental snaps or a shot, or somebody else, anybody else, right? But some of that I agree with, but I think in the overall picture of it, I don't know if it's making as big of an impact as we might think.
Fair enough. Well, Steve, I appreciate the call this morning. Thank you so much. You have a good rest of your day, man.
You too.
All right, we're going to go to Yusuf. And I'm going to regret taking this phone call. I'm going to 100% regret taking this phone call. Yusuf is in our fantasy football league, and when I say our, I mean my personal fantasy football league. Fish, it's the 313-600 number. Yusuf, what do you want?
I just want to say Adham's fantasy team sucks.
Yeah.
I want to say that Kyler Murray has the strongest knees in the NFL. I want to say that Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to come back healthy. I want to say King Henry is going to retain a title, and he's going to be a beast rusher this year. He's not going to fumble every single game. I'm going to say Alvin Kamara is going to come back and play every game healthy, and Scary Terry is going to come back to form and be a top 5 receiver this year.
Go to hell. Go to hell. I'm going to hang up on you. God, man. God. When do we get back? When we get back, Josh Pascal, Jerry Jacobs set to join practice or start practicing pretty soon. We'll get to that. We'll get to more callers. I want to get to Tyler out in Indy. But before we do, Fish, could you do me one favor, buddy? We are going to take a quick pause, actually. Give us 1 minute. We'll be back. We'll take more callers, 313-552-6322. We'll get to Tyler. We'll get to Steve. And then we'll get into Josh Pascal and Jerry Jacobs. We'll be back in just a minute.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there.
And that one Lions playoff win in 1991, yeah, Detroit fans were there.
Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Think of all the ways that weight affects your health, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Custom Health Centers is blessed to have helped over 20,000 success stories and individuals throughout the Metro Detroit area. It's been their honor to help many professional athletes lose weight and improve their health. People like Detroit Lions' very own Eddie Murray and Detroit Piston Rick Mahorn. Start losing weight today and call Dr. Jason at Custom Health Centers at 844-789-8446. That's 844-789-8446. And we're back. 8:30. Jeff is nowhere to be found. And we're on the Morning Woodward Show. Josh Pascal, Jerry Jacobs set to return to the Detroit Lions, but let's go out to Tyler in Indy. Tyler, you have a very, very interesting perspective right now, and it's regarding Aaron Glenn. What is it?
I'm just wondering why we have not only just fired Aaron Glenn, but even just talked about it. Dan Campbell kind of mentioned a little bit in his press conference yesterday about he's going to explore all options, but what else is he going to say after a performance like that from the defense? I want to know what Aaron Glenn has done to prove that he is the guy that's going to lead our defense. Even go back to last year, he's given up 44 to the Eagles, 38 to the Broncos. This year, 140 points in 4 games. It's inexcusable. I want to know why he still has his job. It makes no sense to me.
Look, it's a fair question to ask, and, I did this yesterday morning. It's open season on Aaron Glenn, and, whether it's you, Tyler, or anybody else that wants to call in, comment on the Woodward Sports Chat, whatever you guys want to do, I get it. It's ridiculous. But, what is the one thing we did take away from last year? It is somehow, some way, in games you didn't expect the Lions defense to show up, they found a way. They held these teams under 20 points. And if I remember correctly, the stat was if they had scored 20 points in those games, they would have, I believe, a total of 6 wins or 6 additional wins to last season. And I don't understand the drop-off. I don't have a reason why you're giving up 35 points a game. It's Bush League. It's awful. It's pathetic. They don't contain. They don't get a pass rush. The secondary players blow coverage. They can't guard one-on-one. They can't do man coverage. If there's no safety help on a wide receiver, every corner gets beat. There's just fundamental issues everywhere with this defense. And now, Tyler, we're being told, hey, we're going to simplify the defense, and that should fix everything. I'm not sure, Tyler. You have every right to call in and say, why don't we fire Aaron Glenn? It's a very valid point, and you have guys out there like Vic Fangio. I'm sure he could come in and put together a scheme for New England. You have Bailey Zappi coming up in Foxborough. If you can't figure it out on Sunday, Tyler, I think you chop his head.
I 100% agree. And if he's that good of a defensive coordinator, how come he can't teach the fundamentals after a year and 4 games? He still can't get the fundamentals out.
I'm with you, and you know what? I love that attitude because we give way too much time, especially here in Detroit, for this football team. The reality is, around the league, you're able to hire Doug Peterson, who took over the worst team in football last year. They're the top of their division. They look damn good. They've competed every game, and they're probably going to finish 10-7. That's what the Jaguars look like. Their defense looks legit, and Trevor Lawrence has taken that next step now with Doug Peterson as coach. And that's with offensive talent that is not even as good as your talent here in Detroit, without even the same offensive line that you have here in Detroit. Appreciate the call, Tyler.
Thank you very much.
Yep. All right, let's go to Steve out in White Lake. Steve, your thoughts on the Lions defense. What do you got?
Hey, Adam. Thanks for taking the call.
I appreciate it, man. Anytime.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I don't think we should talk about firing Anthony Glenn. I think, like that handsome fella Easy said yesterday. This is easy. I'm sorry.
Easy.
But no,
bro.
I was talking about the heavyweight show yesterday.
I swear to God, I'm blocking this number. Steve
but look,
from White Lake. Where the hell did you get that one from, buddy?
Hey, how the hell are you?
Oh, my God. What do you got, buddy? You there, Easy? Fish, did we lose him? I guess we lost him. The hell? All right, Easy, if you want to call back, feel free. I'll segue a little bit until Easy calls back. But Pascal Jacobs, 2 players you're getting back. I'm sure you're excited about it. Hey, look who decided to show up for work. Can we get the full camera shot, please? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. No. Empty chair. No. Hey, round of applause. Hey. It's Tuesday. It's show up to work day. I didn't know.
No, listen, I just want to say, I don't miss work, and I'm never late, but F traffic, screw Birmingham parking, all right? Because I was driving around here like an idiot. But you know what? I'm happy to be here, Adam.
All right, have
Finally.
a seat. Have a seat. You got me getting prank called by Easy right now.
I was watching the show, though. You were doing good, my guy.
Yeah. All right, let's get Easy on. Easy from White Lake, Michigan. What do you got, buddy?
I was going to say, I should have just said the heavyweights too, but like factually speaking, we have the second youngest team in the league. On defense, our veterans are like career backups in terms of Alex Anzalone. Yeah, we have Michael Brockers. He's in like the later half of his career. Like, this kind of stuff is expected. Now, I know like this is technically like year 2 with AG, but we are trying to implement a new scheme. And so like Sunday specifically, there's no excuse for 41 points regardless. But I can tell you right now, straight up in the first half, 2 of those touchdowns was Kirby Joseph in his first start. One obviously just getting beat by Will Dissly. And the second one, he literally just got lost in the screenplay and guarded the wrong guy. It's just like you're going to see those type of things. And you look at the bottom 5 defenses across the league. You can still point out a former Pro Bowler or All-Pro.
What I would say to that is, if you look at...
You can't do that on this Lions team.
I understand, but if you also look at the 6 youngest rosters total, in totality, excuse me. You look at the 6 youngest rosters. You have Jacksonville in there. You have Dallas in there. You have the Giants in there. You have Philly. You have Cleveland. And somehow, some way, those teams are finding ways to keep themselves in games. They're finding ways to score points and play a little bit of defense. Granted, it's not the prettiest defense.
So that's what I'm saying, though. Like, although collectively they're among the youngest teams in the league, you look at that Philly defense. They still have James Bradbury, Darius Slay, Brandon Graham, like Pro Bowlers, all pros. You even go to that. What was the other one? The teams like again, just like you can still name Pro Bowlers on the team. The Browns defense, you have Myles Garrett.
James Bradbury is in his first year in Philly, coming off a free agency, I believe, from the Giants. He's only ever made 1 Pro Bowl, and he's been phenomenal this year. I can't argue. He's one of the highest graded PFF corners in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and that's like more than what we have, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, Anthony Glenn doesn't have much to work with here, and especially losing Tracy Walker, we should expect this to be ugly for a little bit. This is very much a learning experience for this team. Again, you look at the vets of this team, it's Alex Anzalone and Michael Brockers. You look at the defense additions in this offseason, both free agency and the draft class. Half of them aren't available due to injury, and the other half, like Benito Jones, and like they're not.
I'm not
like
going to
guys,
sit here and
saying?
defend some of those players you mentioned. I do think you're right in some aspects, but I can also look at the Giants and say they're missing Leonard Williams, arguably the best defensive player easily the best defensive player on their team. And they're finding ways to just get off the field. I mean, I'm not asking, like I did this yesterday, I'm not asking for a top 5, top 10, top 15, hell, not even top 20 defense. I'm just asking for you to get off the field once or twice and give this offense a chance.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, Sunday, inexcusable, but again, a guy in his first start, and his first time actually even like getting PT in an actual game, Kirby Joseph, responsible for 14 of those points, like directly. And that's this type of inexperienced plays you're going to see as they go through this progression, especially now that they're no longer doing the 4-2. You got to remember, too, that Tracy Walker was calling the plays. It's now going to, like, Alex Anzalone and Rodrigo. They're now the ones with the green dot.
Even if that's the case, I have to deal with a defensive coordinator who on 3rd and 16 lines up for a 0 blitz. On the complete opposite side, they run a running back draw, and he takes it to the house.
They got that.
There are.
They got that. on that one for sure.
There are unexcusable things, but Easy, I appreciate the call, man. We'll check you out today at 5 o'clock on the heavyweights. Well done.
Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Called it. Fish, you got to do a better job at screening these people. Oh, God. All right, 5 minutes before we get Anthony Broom on. Alex, when you do get a chance, I need a code, please. That's what you get for being late, by the way. We have to talk about that after the show. Regardless. Well, let's go to,
I filled in. It was seamless.
What is it?
I filled in. It was seamless transition. No one even knew, other than the fact that the camera was on me for a little bit.
There you go. All right, let's go to Andrew out in Landerville.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
Good, Andrew. How are you, buddy?
Good. Adam, it's Lambertville. It's right down.
Lambertville. Fish is messing me up this morning. I'm just going to stop reading what he says.
I warned you I couldn't spell. I told you I can't spell. You knew this.
What do you got, Andrew?
No, I just wanted to call and talk to you guys. I mean, I agree. When last few weeks, you guys are talking about play calling being atrocious. We finally get to a game where the offense is doing what they do. They're putting up points. Defense can't stop anybody. So at the end of the game, which would normally upset most Lions fans, we have 3 timeouts. Let's kick the ball deep. Let's hold them. Let's get it in field goal range, take that game to overtime, or possibly win it. We have to kick it onside because our defense can't stop anybody. And once again, they didn't stop them. Let them run on it, 3rd down. I mean, what else can we do? I mean, it's got to be next man up mentality, and we just don't have that with this team.
And that's kind of the point too. I was trying to make is I'm not asking for the best defense on the planet. I just need one stop. And on top of that, I watched an Atlanta team last week face the Seahawks and hold them to 23 points. Is Atlanta that much more talented than the Lions on defense? It's clearly it's something schematically that's going wrong. So for Aaron Glenn, I mean he's definitely in a tough situation. But hey, I mean schematic changes are coming. We'll see how they respond. I'm not really going to sit here and try and fire Aaron Glenn. I'm not there yet, but I can see why people would be frustrated with not only Aaron Glenn but just the play calling in general on defense. Like some of those 3rd and longs that I watched against the Seahawks, to me were just inexcusable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we have to be able to make adjustments on the fly. If not, we're going to continue to give up 48 a week.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hey, thank you for calling, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
And that's the point, too, because I wanted to say this when Easy called last caller, but I was setting everything up. My only thoughts on it are this. For the Lions defense, if you guys want to talk about things that frustrate you, yes, Aaron Glenn, the play calling has been frustrating. But for me, it starts with just getting stops. Like, that's all I ask for right now. I get they're the 2nd youngest team overall in the NFL. I get the defense. It doesn't have players back that you're going to need, like Josh Pascal, Romeo Bakora, these guys. But on top of that, just get a stop. Just get a stop. And watching, I went back and watched the game yesterday because I wanted to go watch. Because the amount of criticism we've thrown out there about Aaron Glenn, I want to go rewatch the game. So I rewatched, and a lot of things I noticed too were number one, and Terry Foster pointed this out on Big D Energy, that bootleg, that play-action bootleg that everybody was falling for every single time, that no adjustments were made to. And on top of that, the problem I had is 2 plays, one on 3rd and 5, and I believe the other was 3rd and 15. That 0 blitz, it didn't work the first time. 0 blitz late in the game. I think it's 3rd and 5. Didn't work then. So my question would be, where are the adjustments from Aaron Glenn? And I love Aaron. Listen, last year we talked about it all year. If this offense could only score more points, we'd win all these games. But I'm willing to give Aaron Glenn the benefit of the doubt. He just has to be able to adjust. That's all. Whether it's scheme, whether it's coaching, whether it's personnel.
We're talking about coaching here. Oh, can they make adjustments? Can they make halftime adjustments, in-game adjustments? This is coaching. And we somehow in this town, not you, Jeff, but some way, somehow, we find a way in this town to justify it and say, yeah, you know what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh my God. Or instead of just, the reality is they're not being coached enough. They're not disciplined. That's on coaching.
Right.
You're telling me Bill Belichick, forget Bill. Let's go Sean McDermott. Couldn't come in here and get this team more organized on defense in a 5-day window going into Foxborough? Damn right he could. Coaching. You want to blame the DC, the head coach? I don't care at this point. but we're talking about coaching. When we get back, Anthony Broom will be joining us. Can't wait to talk to Anthony about Jim Harbaugh, Michigan football moving forward. How legit is their football team? Top of the hour, Jeff and I power rankings. DoseOfDion on at 9:15. So much more coming up. Can't wait. We'll continue to take calls as we go throughout the show. It'll definitely be fun, but before we go, Jeff, you got to tell everybody at home about our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, please head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. Baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Let me tell you about our friends at the Fulling Warehouse, because, guys, the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12. It's the unlimited open play, or they have the $120 lane reservation for up to 10 people. $2 Mr. Beer Machine, full bar. Check it all out. FullingWarehouse.com.
All right. 8:47. We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Jeff, I made a trade last night, by the way.
Yeah, I was listening.
Right
so
before
break
the
it
game.
down. Yeah,
right before the game, I just my stomach is starting to turn. Javonte Williams, I just lost him to a torn ACL. I'm not feeling good about my running back position, and I just say to myself, like, I don't want to have to start Cam Akers moving forward. I don't trust him.
Right.
So, that entered my mind. I didn't do anything. I text somebody who has Dalton Schultz, because I don't like my tight end position either, and I say, hey, what do you want for Dalton Schultz? Let's have a conversation. He responds, hey, Adam, are you interested in giving up Lamar Jackson?
Oh.
I mean, okay.
Best quarterback right now.
Send me an offer. So I'm valuing Lamar pretty high at the moment. He sends me an offer for Kyler Murray, Dalton Schultz, Alvin Kamara, for Lamar Jackson and Cam Akers. On the contingency, Cam Akers doesn't get hurt in the game.
So you said Kyler Murray, Alvin
Schultz.
Kamara, and Dalton Schultz.
Yep.
For Lamar and Cam Akers.
And Dawson Knox, which I'm not losing sleep over. I mean, what am I getting here? What do you guys get? You guys are giving me a no good sign? Really?
I'm just thinking about it.
I have D-Hop on my bench.
Yeah, and you got D-Hop, so... But Lamar has been like a... Dude, he's like the entire
offense. Yeah, he's a dude that got 15 points last week in the first half and 0 in the second half, who clearly can't throw against a good
previous
defenses.
3 weeks? Did you not?
No,
did you not check fantasy?
Oh, no,
okay.
I was enjoying it. But Kyler Murray's averaging 27 points a game this week.
I do have Kyler in our league, so I can't hate it.
What are we doing here?
Because I'm undefeated with
Kyler.
Kyler.
No, you don't like it. I am very disappointed.
I don't mind it
because
you got Kamara. You need a running back. Akers has been trash.
I mean, Kamara has been nothing either. It's not like he's some.
But at least you have somebody that you can.
I went for the upside.
Yeah, the upside.
I took a swing.
Yeah, we'll see.
And he did nothing. And he's done nothing all year. Every defense this year has looked like a good defense. They can't run the ball. Having said that, we're joined by Anthony. Anthony, I'm sorry you have to hear about my stressful life of fantasy football. How you doing this morning, buddy?
I'm living that same life, so this is a safe space for you. So it's all good.
I'm trying to get to the playoffs, and I'm trying to make a run. And apparently everybody except me thinks it's a bad deal. I don't like what's going on here. Anthony, man, J.J. McCarthy, we had the conversation last week. On the road, his first Big Ten start on the road. Iowa, where top 5 teams go to die. They were 5-1 in their last 6 appearances against top 5 teams at home. It was a game you kind of had to scratch your head a little bit and say, hey, if Michigan don't show up, this could be a problem. And Michigan showed up, and they showed up better than I thought they would. And they dominated the football game. They controlled the line of scrimmage. And that clearly has been arguably the biggest strength of this team is their ability to control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it was 27-14, obviously. To me, my eyeballs, just having watched it and been there, it was never really that close. It got a little sketchy in the fourth quarter. I mean, Iowa converts on a fourth down in the red zone, and all of a sudden that might be a one-score game, and some tight sphincters on the Michigan sideline if that happens. But Michigan comes out and I think just dominates, like you said, right from the get-go. To go on an 11-play, 75-yard drive where you're getting just 6, 7, 8 yards at a time all the way down the field against an Iowa defense that is notoriously stingy in a building that is one of the toughest environments to play in the Big Ten. I was really impressed by that. And, when push came to shove and things did get a little bit, a little tighter late, they made plays on both sides of the ball. Blake Corum was outstanding. The pass rush, inconsistent, but got kind of cranked up when it mattered the most late in the game. So, the numbers weren't pretty. You look at J.J. McCarthy, I know he only threw for 155 yards, but when you look at, and I know there are Michigan fans, there are neutral observers who say, well, what are you doing with this guy? Why aren't you airing it out? You don't go to Kinnick Stadium and start working on the passing game. That is a place where, and I looked this up, the last time that Iowa gave up 27 or more points at home was, I think, October 2018 when Wisconsin was there. That's a place where teams don't score. And Michigan, they left some points on the field, a couple plays here or there. That's probably more of a blowout. But, people have been waiting to see this Michigan team get tested. And I'll hesitate to say it was with flying colors that they passed, but, you go win in that environment on the road. I can't talk this morning. Extremely impressive, and answers some big questions about at least the makeup of your team moving forward.
Another big question that you got to get answered, I guess, so far would be that defensive line. And you talked about it, last week is something you're going to be watching going forward. 4 sacks, 6 tackle for losses on an offense, a horrendous Iowa offense. But in your opinion, give me your thoughts on Mike Morris, because that's somebody that I've been watching over the last couple games, and he looks like he could be that breakout defensive end for Michigan this year. But what are your thoughts on the defensive line play so far in just the game against Iowa?
It's been up and down. I think at times against Iowa it looked really good, and at times they got pushed around, which is to be expected. I mean, Iowa's a very physical football team, and really this was the most kind of physical challenge that Michigan has seen to this point. The defensive line, namely the interior, is the tip of the spear, as Don Brown used to call it. It all starts right there. So, in order to get that pass rush going, you have to have disruption in the middle, and I think what Mozzie Smith does inside and mostly collecting double teams, sometimes triple teams, is impressive. He wants that. He sees that as a sign of respect, so he's fine with that. I like, here's the thing. Mike Morris, we talked to him this offseason, and he talked about wanting to have the burden of being that guy that replaced Aiden Hutchinson. And they're not the same player. I mean, Mike Morris is, 6'6", 290. Aiden was playing at 6'7", 265 or whatever it was. But what you can do with Mike Morris is, he's not the guy that's going to come screaming off the edge like Aiden did, but he sets a good edge, in run defense. He can kick inside on passing downs and provide a rush from the interior. He's been, obviously the numbers have been impressive, but I think he's been sort of quietly better than a lot of people are giving him credit for so far. So you need some other guys to step up still, and they did. Iabi Oki had his best game, I thought, played 26 snaps, which is only going to continue to expand for him. Guys, they're getting there. There's still some things that need to be shored up. I think Iowa probably could have run the ball a little bit more on Michigan if they wanted to. I don't know that this is going to be an elite defense. I think it can be a bend but don't break defense, and if you're going to be that, you gotta at least cause a little bit of havoc up front, and you got to force some more turnovers than they have. But so far through 5 games, I mean, we look at it, and a lot of the things are kind of nitpicks right now. I like the scheme, I like the personnel, and we'll see what happens from there.
Look, Anthony, jokes aside, Obviously, you know I'm big on State this year, right? I'm supporting Michigan State through the season. But we had these conversations
by the way.
last year. Yeah, I know, man. You know, I always say if this was 1347, I could take Scott Hazelton publicly into the middle of the town hall and just hang him. But, you know, we can't do that in today's world. So here we are. Having said that, we talked about this last year before they had ever won a Big Ten championship. And it was, you know, when is Harbaugh finally going to do it? There's so many positives with Jim. There's so many wins, but he can't win the big game. And then he does it last year. And then you go into this year and look, Anthony, call me crazy. I don't think I've ever gone into a season like I have this year, looking at Michigan and saying, hey, they're a legitimate, not Big Ten contender, a legitimate national contender. I think the speed on the edges is there. I think the defense has some kinks, but that is normal. It's college football. I'm not too worried about the defense. I don't need them to really be a top 5 defense. The reality is they have the best offensive line, in my opinion, in the country. They have the best rushing attack in the country. And with JJ, kind of gives you that next level, that next step, where I'm pretty confident in Michigan right now. I'm all in on them being a legitimate national contender, especially after what you saw with Georgia against Missouri.
Yeah, anything can happen in a given week. I mean, that's why people that were freaking out last week that, oh, wow, you were favored by 17 against Maryland and you didn't really put them away or take care of business, whatever it was. You got to play. You got to strap it up every single week in this sport. And we saw what happened to Georgia this week. Obviously, Georgia still finds a way to win, but some of those games you just have to survive and advance, so to speak. And when we're talking about, you know, Michigan hasn't gone to Kinnick Stadium and won since 2005. And when, you know, us as, you know, a Michigan media contingent talking to fans or just kind of breaking down how things went, when we're sitting here talking about how there were opportunities left on the field to dominate Iowa even more on their home field, I mean, don't take this for granted right now. Something I loved, I know Joel Klatt is polarizing, but last year around this time after Michigan beat Wisconsin, he said, stop watching every game, asking yourself if it's enough to beat Ohio State. Enjoy the ride, look for things to improve, and then you see what happens that last week of the year. I'm not going to question the formula after what I saw last year. I think the biggest key to what Michigan does well is that offensive line, and really the defensive line too. If you can control the trenches up front, especially with what they want to do on offense or what they can do on offense, you get to dictate how that game gets played. No matter if you play Ohio State or Iowa or Indiana, whatever it is, you take care of your business up front, you get to set the terms. And that's the biggest thing I think Michigan has going for is that, okay, if you want to play your safeties back so J.J. McCarthy doesn't beat you with the deep ball, which those deep balls need to improve, I think we'll get there with him. If you want to play your safeties back, we're going to hammer you with Blake Corum, and he's going to run for 150 yards. And if you want to bring an extra guy or two in the box to take away the run, they can beat you with a quick passing game. I think they can beat you in the intermediate areas. So I think you're right. I mean, I haven't seen – last year was about the time where we started to see Michigan take shape as a team that might be able to make some noise. I'm still waiting to see some quote-unquote special traits with this group, but I think they absolutely have the goods. Now that they've got past this game at Kinnick, and you look at how the schedule breaks down, Penn State's going to be a tough game. I don't care how bad Michigan State is this year. They will always be ready to play Michigan, and it is a game that until Michigan wins, they need to, even if Michigan wins, you need to hammer that opponent this year and take care of business. You get through October undefeated, and my God, I mean, Rutgers, Illinois, Nebraska, Ohio State. I mean, it all is setting up for you to kind of play for another Big Ten championship, but you got to survive October. I think they will survive October, and we'll see how it takes shape from there.
Anthony, let's say we're all on the college football committee, and Michigan run the table, Ohio State run the table. Ohio State by the end of the year is 1 or 2, Michigan 2 or 3, who knows, and they're facing off. The loser of that game, do we really have to consider allowing a one-loss team, if they're both undefeated going into that game, into the playoff, over a one-loss SEC, a one-loss maybe Pac-12 champion or a one-loss ACC champion. What's the conversation we have to have about Ohio State and so far Michigan really looking like some of the better teams in the country?
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on what happens around them. I don't foresee a scenario where the playoff committee just puts in 2 SEC teams and 2 Big Ten teams. I think it kind of, to me, still boils down to this: you win the Ohio State game, you go to Indy and win there, you're in the playoff. I think if you lose, you're kind of on the outside looking in, and you're going to the Rose Bowl, which is, I mean, God, the fact that the Rose Bowl is like the consolation prize now I guess that's a good spot to be in. In order for Michigan, now here's the thing: is that we live under this pretense that the College Football Playoff Committee has this criteria, and they're going to put in the teams that have the best resume. They change the resume every damn year to get in whoever they want to put in. So if they can. I'm being conspiracy brain guy here, but if they can find a way to fudge the criteria to where, okay, we think that Michigan deserves to be in, because guess what? Big secret, Michigan puts butts in front of televisions, and their fan base travels really well. So I'm not ruling that out, that Michigan can get in as a one-loss team with a loss to Ohio State, but I think if you're Michigan, I think you want to just kind of win that game and truly take control back of that rivalry. So that's where I see it.
Fair enough. Well, Anthony, can't thank you enough for joining us this morning. Sorry about the last second heads up. You're a champ as always. We'll try to chat Thursday. Looking forward to seeing you. Look, Monday next week or Tuesday. Let's just say Tuesday. If Michigan State loses like 115-7, me and you have to have a conversation.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. So.
Enjoy your weekend,
Thanks,
man. We'll talk soon, Anthony.
See you, Anthony.
Yep. Thanks. See ya.
All right, when we get back, top of the hour, Power Rankings released every Tuesday. Jeff and I will go over our Power Rankings, and then 9:15, DoseOfDion joining us. But before we do, I got to tell you about the awesome stylists over at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Their awesome stylists will take care of you like they take care of me. Walking anytime, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's have the most precision cut, award-winning stylists.
Precision.
In the country. It's not even close. The best experience. Hot lather neck shave.
The best.
The way they wash your hair. Everything taken into consideration. It is the best experience. Lady Jane, like I said, no appointment necessary. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
All right, guys, looking to buy or sell your home, whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, or invest is Michael Phillips' top priority. Being in the game for over 23 years makes Michael the #1 option for anyone. If you have real estate needs, call Michael Phillips at 313-403-0011. That's 313-403-0011. Top of the hour. Jeff, it's a Tuesday, and you know what happens on Tuesday, so we give our top 10 teams in the NFL.
Let's do it.
I don't like your list.
That's fine.
I think you have Miami too high.
That's fine.
Having said that,
I think that we'll talk about it.
Let's get into it. Alex,
can't wait to see
whenever you're ready.
Baltimore Ravens up there.
They're not.
Okay,
actually.
thank God.
I was very fair this week. I actually have a team that lost pretty high because of how weak I think the NFC is. Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think
let
you know
me see,
what I'm
let me see
talking
your
about.
list first.
All right, Alex, whenever you're ready, let's go for it. I got the Jaguars at 10. You have the Niners at 10. I have the Niners all the way at 5. What I saw last night, hear me out. What I saw last night is arguably one of the best pass rushes in the league. You know how valuable I think that is. They're one of the best defenses in the NFL. When Jeff Wilson and the run game can get going like that with Deebo Samuel making big plays, Kyle Juszczyk getting key first downs, George Kittle really doing nothing, and them still controlling that football game. I love what I saw from San Francisco, but that's fine. You have them at 10. I can respect it. Number 9, they're my darling. You know they are. I think you have them high. Minnesota, they're fortunate to walk away against New Orleans. They're a 3-1 football team.
It's a pretty good team.
They found ways to win games. You know how I feel about them.
Right.
I just need to see something different from the offense. It's predictable right now. And if it's not Justin Jefferson, what is it? I need Madison, Cook. I need Cousins to take a step forward. It's tough for me to put them in my top 5. But I have them at 9. You have Bengals. Walk me through it. By the way, Cincinnati 11 on my list.
Yeah, no, Cincinnati, I think, deserves to be in the top 10. I know they have some ugly losses, but they bounced back. They beat Miami. I get it was no Tua. But this is a team that everybody came out and said, at least some people I know, they're not going to make the playoffs. You're crazy. You're crazy. They're going to make the playoffs. It's early in the season, but I still believe they're a top 10 team, man. The Bengals, they're going to be just fine.
All right, fair enough. Number 8, I got the Green Bay Packers. I am so concerned with their ability to throw the football. I don't like 3 or 4 of the teams on this list. I don't. But the ones before them aren't even that better. But the Packers are finding ways to win football games just like the Vikings are. They're 3-1.
How do you?
I can't knock Matt LaFleur. He finds ways to win regular season games with Aaron Rodgers.
Beat the
do
Bucs.
They struggle in the playoffs? Yeah, they do. They beat the Bucs. They're coming off a good, tough win against New England. Look, they're 3-1.
Just win, baby.
They weren't in my top 10 last week. I had to put them out of respect in this week. You got the Ravens at 8. We don't really disagree there. I have them at 7.
Yeah, but yeah. The one I have a problem with, to be honest, and I'm asking you, is Tampa.
Yeah, that's the team I was mentioning before the break.
So
Tampa, they lost 41-31. I thought the defense, look, they got Mahomes.
But even the previous week.
Yeah, they were 4 last week. No, they were 3 last week on my list.
Right. They lost to the Chiefs, and then before they lost to the Packers.
Yes.
So 2 losses, you're putting them at 4.
I still have them there because I think they are one of the better teams in the NFC. And the reality is, if you want to have an honest conversation here, you want to go off a record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably kicked them out and swapped them with Minnesota. But I'm looking at a team with a lot of injuries, players coming back into the lineup. I think Tampa, when it's all said and done, I'm still going to hold on to them being a top 5 team. But you have them at 7. I respect it. I do get it.
Right.
Number 6, you have the Packers. Walk me through it. I got the Dolphins.
Yeah, and this again, people like to rank teams based on talent. This isn't that. This is based on the Packers beat the Bucs. Packers are better right now. Packers are ranked in front of the Bucs. It's that easy. So, and I don't view it like you view it. Now, more talent, the Bucs, no question about it. But they went head to head. Packers won. So, and I get it. They didn't have the receivers. They had Cole Beasley. They had Russell Gage. But a win's a win. I'm going with the Packers at 6. Who knows? A week from now, they could be 10 or 11. But right now, as we stand, they deserve to be at least. I know Bailey Zapp took them to OT and almost beat them. But overall, they got to figure out what, at least offensively, they got to figure a lot of things out. But I still have them as a top 10 team. They're 6 for me.
Yeah, Miami's difficult for me. No Tua for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Who knows how long he's going to be out. I didn't even want to put him on this list.
But we're not basing it off projections.
I know.
It's right now.
But right now, they are not a top 10 team, technically speaking, with no Tua Tagovailoa. Right? Does that make sense? So that's why I don't have him in the top 5. I can't. I'm not sure what to do with Miami. It's a very tough list to put together this week. Number 5, you got Minnesota. I've got San Francisco. San Francisco, for me, they've never made the playoffs in back-to-back years under Kyle Shanahan. Ever. Think about that. Last year, they were in the playoffs. You'd expect a drop-off. No. The Trey Lance injury might have been a blessing in disguise for this roster. They're going to be contending for an NFC Championship appearance this year. I love the coach. I like the quarterback. I like the offensive line. Even without Trent Williams, they're still able to run the football well. Deebo Samuel, big playmaker. Kittle hasn't even gotten going, and we're talking about one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, no, defensively, I like what San Francisco has. I think offensively, it's the Deebo Samuel show. And they were able to run the ball, but they got to get Kittle going. San Francisco, to me, they're a team that with Jimmy G, they have a ceiling. I mean, that's the reality of it. They're gonna win a playoff game, lose in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl or anything like that. But San Francisco, they look good right now. Defensively especially. They terrorize Matthew Stafford. But for me, I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. Their one loss is primetime Kirk. And they got destroyed by the best team in football. Other than that, they found ways to win. Yes, the Lions had them on their heels. They still found they had to play to KJ Osborne. They won. So I'm going to give credit. I think they're a top 5. If you want to put them at 6 or 7, that's fine. I think 9 is a little too low. I think Minnesota's better than that. To be ranked even behind Baltimore, I would even honestly, I don't have a problem if you put them in front of Miami right now, to be honest with you. But I have them at 5. We'll see where they go throughout the season. But right now, you beat the Packers head-to-head. You have 2 divisional wins. And you go out and you beat the Saints out in London. So I got to give them some credit. They're a top 5 team.
Fair enough. Look, I explained Tampa Bay already, so you walk me through why Miami's 4.
Just listen, because of what they've done. I get they lost to the Bengals and they're not going to have Tua, but right now they're definitely still a top 5 team. I don't look at it like, what are they with Teddy? They are a top 5 team. Now, wherever Teddy takes them, if they lose twice, whatever, they go 1-3 while Tua's out. I believe he's only out for the next week. We'll see how much further he's out. But until then, they're still a top 5 team to me. I had them in my top 10 early in the year. They didn't lose any talent besides Tua, which is going to hurt them. But overall, they deserve to still be in that conversation. Like, you have them at 6. I don't have an issue with that. I think they're still in that conversation until they show me otherwise. But yeah, I have them at 4.
Fair enough. All right, top 3 teams. I don't think we disagree here much. Buffalo, I'm a big fan. They were my preseason favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this was a very wishy-washy.
I just think KC looked much better right now. I think they look more fluid. Patrick Mahomes is playing at an MVP level. That was the difference maker for me. And then we both agree the only undefeated team in the NFL, Philadelphia, number 1.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills and Chiefs are both coming off an ugly loss. They bounce back, they win the following week. So similar situations. The way I looked at it is Buffalo is just a more complete team, so I gave them the edge. But they're both in similar situations. The Kansas City Chiefs lose to the Colts. They should have won. Bills lose to Miami. They should have won that. They bounce back both with wins. KC over Tampa, Buffalo over Baltimore. So 2 impressive wins after a loss. Wherever you want to put them, I'm not going to argue with you, Adam, but I just feel like the Bills are still the much more complete roster. They have injuries, but still.
Fair enough.
It's pretty close. I don't have an issue. KC 2, that's fine. But we agree. Eagles number 1. No question right now. They're the best team in football.
All right, fair enough. Look, we got a few minutes before we get DoseOfDion on, so I'll take David on. David is a caller. David, you're on the Morning Woodward Show from Romulus, Michigan. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good.
So I want to talk to you guys about the Detroit Lions, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right, so I got a question to ask you guys. Do you guys really think that, so if Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn, start looking things over and see that, things are working on the defensive side, do you really think Dan Campbell would make that decision to get rid of Aaron Glenn, knowing that, their history together with being at the Saints and everything?
Well, I think last year showed a lot out of Dan, and you can really commend him for the decision he made to get rid of Anthony Lynn, because this is a guy he has history with for a long, long time. So I don't think it's a question whether Dan could get rid of Aaron. I just think it's a matter of Dan trusts Aaron. Now, until he shows him otherwise. Like last year, he trusted Anthony Lynn until Anthony Lynn showed him otherwise, and he made that tough decision. The problem and the difference is, which I would say, is last year you had Ben Johnson there to promote. This year, I mean, unless you want to promote Aubrey Pleasant, it doesn't look like Dan, is confident with who's behind Aaron Glenn. So you really have to be confident that Aaron Glenn is the sole issue with this defense. And if he feels that way, then I believe he will get rid of him, because he showed it to me last year when he got rid of Anthony Lynn. So I don't think his relationship with Aaron Glenn would alter his decision making in any way.
Yeah, I can see, but the only issue is Dan Campbell doesn't know a whole lot about defense. He seems like he's more like an offensive guy, only because he was under Sean Payton. He doesn't know anything about defense, and he even said himself and when they interviewed him that I trust Aaron Glenn. I just go off of what he says. He kind of leaves him alone.
Yeah, David, I think you make an interesting point, because the reality is I don't think Dan wants to get in the business of getting rid of his defensive coordinator this early on in the year. I don't blame him either. How involved he wants to be, I can't give you a straight answer. All I do know is they're looking to take a step back on how however complicated the defense is, they're looking to take a step back, make it more simplified. But David, appreciate the call. When we get back, Dose of Dion joining us in just under a minute. And before we do, Jeff, our good friends, please, over at Cintron.
Guys, Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings. And for me, you're getting up in the morning, you need something to get you going. Cintron has your back. And if you're watching on WoodwardSports.com, you see it, the six-pack sampler box. They have cranberry, original, sugar-free. You can try all of these flavors by visiting CintronWorld.com/Red Wings. Don't forget, get energized with Cintron.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. You have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
Oh, good song choice, Fish. Well done.
Fish is in the booth.
We are
on the ones and twos.
We are back, 9:17 here on the Morning Woodward Show, joined by a very good friend of the show, Dose of Dion. Dion, good morning, man. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Man, it's good to be back. I appreciate the invite. The only thing, I do got to throw this out there real quick because I'm seeing you guys do the power rankings. I'm wondering where the Lions are on both the guys' list there. Why? What are we doing?
You know, I was thinking of putting them in the top five, but I couldn't, you know?
Dion, can I rank the offense and the defense separately?
Right.
Because offense would be in there, I'm telling you.
Do what you got to do, man.
Man, Dion, look, I'm going to keep it about as honest as I can with you right now.
Yeah.
You watch the game. We all watch the same game. We all watch the same team. That's a 3-1 football team. And they're not. They're 1-3. The defense has taken a huge step backwards. And after Sunday, Dion, I got to come in here and talk about a 1-3 football team that I think we all agree are better than what their record indicates. But now, Dion, we're having a conversation about, oh, well, it's the talent on defense. It's the talent. You know, they're doing what they can. I'm not seeing a talent issue. Are you?
Look, I'm not with the idea that it's just a talent issue because, we see what the offense is doing. And I get the offense is in a better spot where they have two good tackles. But, we are better defensively, I would say, on paper than we were last year. But with that said, I don't think that's the straight-up issue. If we're talking about this last game, and we're talking about all the games, but this last game we got, destroyed, I give a lot of credit to Seattle. I think they did a lot of things schematically well. And on top of that, I think last year they put 50 on us. Now, we were missing pieces at that time. But I think Aaron Glenn got hit with a guy in Pete Carroll that kind of just attacked what they like to do, man. And they were on top. They felt like they were a step ahead of everything we did defensively.
And you heard it from the players, even Seattle's players, after the game on Sunday. They felt they knew what was going on. They were ready. Their alerts were ready. They were ready to make a change at the line of scrimmage. They did. They killed us on the 3rd and 16.
Yeah.
Dion, some of these things are just inexcusable. My question to you is, when do we have an honest conversation about coaching? And I'm not saying Aaron Glenn right now needs to be fired. I'm not saying Dan Campbell needs to be fired right now. I think it's still way too early. But when does coaching matter? When does coaching become a reason why you win these games?
Yeah, that's a great question because it's so weird to try to figure it out. You guys were talking about it, like where do you go if there's no Aaron Glenn, like things like that. So yeah, I'm not making moves now, but I think this is something that should be talked about already because like, again, you look at the flip side, the one constant that Jared Goff has had since he's literally been way different is Ben Johnson. Ever since Ben Johnson took over a bigger role, he's been great offensively. And what this offense is doing is not just they're playing well. Like, they're the best offensive football, and they're missing so many pieces. So when you flip it to the defense, I think you have to look at it the same way. Now, for me with Aaron Glenn, after this game, I think, you really start to – obviously we're going to pay our attention there. But I'm really interested to see – how they adjust that, because you got a guy like Bill Belichick coming up, regardless of what talent he has, he's gonna he's the best schemer you could think of. So this guy's gonna be on top of what you like to do. So how does Aaron Glenn break some of those tendencies to try to throw off their opponents? Because I think that's what Seattle did. They took advantage of a lot of things we like to do in certain spots. On top of that, I think they matched up well with a couple of their receivers. But I think it's something that absolutely should be talked about now. Going forward, it should be focused on, because I think it's a huge X's and O's game. And right now, the Lions are doing that on offense and on defense. Like last week, they got exposed.
And talking about that defense, it starts up front. It starts with the number 2 overall pick, Aiden Hutchinson. And you've seen it through the first 4 games, like how much he's getting double-teamed, which doesn't get talked about enough. But I want to get your opinion on just his evaluation of him so far this season. He had the 3 sacks and a half against Washington. But since then, people like to come out and, the rumors start, how it is, Dion. Rumors start coming up on Twitter. Oh, Aiden's this, Aiden's that. What is your personal evaluation of Aiden so far through 4 games in his rookie year?
Yeah, I'm with you. And then, to me, that Washington game, he had the 3 sacks. I don't even know if I would say that was his best game. You look at how he got the 3 sacks. But right. I think what Hutchinson has been to me, man, his run defense has been what I thought it was going to be. And that's what I wanted in this guy, is that he could help us against the run. But you make a great point. He's going to play on that strong side all the time, so he's always getting the tight ends. And the way that Seattle went, if you're talking about last week, the way that Seattle attacked us, I've used it before, it feels like how Michigan played Georgia last year in the playoffs. They did so much to take him out of the game. And when you're playing that way, it's not much the dude can do, right? I mean, they're rolling away from him. They got the tight end on the side all the time. So, I think it could be better. I think there's been opportunities out there. But I think he's been pretty darn good to this point.
Dion, I'm struggling in one aspect of this whole conversation that we're going to have.
Okay.
Which is, I look around the league, and I'm not asking for much. And we wouldn't have talked about expectations going into the year. We looked at the schedule, the quarterback play, who you'd played against. This was one of the more winnable games going into the year. And even with all the injuries, there was still a level of confidence because of what Ben Johnson and the offense have been doing. But Dion, the conversation we're at now is this is a 1-3 team staring down the barrel of 1-4. And I'm sorry, I look at the Giants. I look at Doug Peterson and the Jaguars. For some reason, every year, there are just a few teams that, we'll click year 1, we'll click year 2. But I have to be patient, because it is unforgivable in this town that we have an honest conversation about, hey, maybe this just isn't working. I think we all love Brad Holmes. I think we all think he's doing a great job. I think we all agree the talent is going to get there. But when does coaching, force a punt? When does coaching, give Philly 2 free possessions? When does coaching, stick to their guns and go for on 4th and 4, or punt and play the time? How many more times until we have that conversation, which I don't want to have. I want to see them succeed. But they're not giving me any confidence, man.
Yeah, and then I think Dan Campbell, he understands it. We've heard him talk about it. Dan Campbell has been honest with it. Hey, I know if we're not winning games, I'm going to be run out of here. He's saying that before the season starts. He knows that's the job, is to win football games. So, whatever you think the rebuild phase is in, this was a year where it's man, you got to take a step, though. To me, I was always man, we win 5 games, you're not improving. You can't win 5. You got to show me something this year, and I think there's no reason you can't, especially when the offense is doing that. So, yeah, there's coaching things to point at. The decision to take the field goal is what are we doing? That one just felt kind of obvious. Why would we take a field goal there, especially after we missed it? So you point at the little things. Now, as Holmes, I think Brad Holmes done a pretty good job for the most part just in giving us the players. But, yeah, I think you got to look at the defensive side of the ball and dude, you got to hold your weight here. So I think that's going to get the attention. And if you think back to the beginning, right, you're hiring a defense coordinator that's never done it. And I'm cool with the hire, but that's what you did. And at the same time, offensively, you got some, consultants there that help out. You have that across the board. Defensively, you don't really have that. You're kind of leaning on Aaron Glenn. So the focus is going to go there. And, of course, you got to win these football games, because even Philly, he couldn't get off the field. You had an opportunity, could not get off the field against Philly, so it was the same kind of thing. Only game, really, the defense couldn't get off the field was Washington, because you were up 9 points. So the game was already over at that point. So, yeah, I think you're looking at that right now. And that's why Campbell's like, I'm gonna try to get a little more involved in this defense a little bit because it's got to be way better.
And we remember the narrative with Jared Goff. Listen, he gets traded here. The fans already aren't high on him right away. Now his second season, and he's first in touchdowns in the NFL. He's top 10 in QBR, third in yards. And so far, I mean, last week with the offense they had, they rolled out there. You had Jamal, was really just TJ, Josh Reynolds, and they made plays. I mean, that's some practice squad guys, backup offensive linemen. What has been your evaluation of just Jared Goff so far, and maybe some things that you can point to why he's having success, whether it's coaching, whether it's the talent, whatever it is?
Hey, those numbers sound kind of good. I didn't know that's where they, stack. Okay, that's awesome. For me, man, I think Ben Johnson, I give him like the majority of the credit here because I think we kind of knew what Goff was, like where he was good, where he wasn't good. But I always felt like this was, Ben Johnson was the opportunity for him to take that massive step. And Ben Johnson being at his first time, he can kind of work with Goff on this. And I think he's done a great job. Again, going back to last year, like everything they do is playing to his skill set. And I even just look at the reverse. Look at Geno Smith last week. Right, look at Geno Smith so far this season and what he's been in Seattle and how they put him in the right spots versus when he was with the Jets. And like the dude never had success there. And Seattle's not like, the most talented team. They got some. But yeah, I give a majority of the credit to Ben Johnson. But yeah, I think Jared Goff is the comfortability. I feel like you're seeing it every week is just growing. Like some of the throws that throw to Josh Reynolds to me was a throw that I don't remember seeing him make. Like usually a window comes open, there's the ball. But to throw it like with the cornerbacks on top, I was like, what? That's Goff? So those type of things, the way, he's like extending plays. And he's not just extending plays to just run around and throw it away. Like he's extending towards where he knows the ball's got to go. Like the one to Kennedy was giant. So, I mean, look, I think he's playing really well. And this, I thought, he'd be the guy going forward for us. And to me, it's trending that direction.
Yeah, no doubt.
The concern, the final concern is, can Aaron Glenn turn it around, right? We were talking about this last year. Man, how'd they hold this opponent under 20 points? They did it multiple times. Lamar, whoever else it was throughout the season, you saw the defense kind of outplay themselves. And now we're seeing them underperform, underdeliver. And look, the reality is Dan Orlovsky came out with a video. I don't know if you saw it yet, Dion, but essentially comparing this Lions defense from Sunday to Matt Patricia's. I mean, how are we here? It's October 4th, and I have to hear the word Matt Patricia?
Ooh.
God, help me.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm actually glad I didn't see that video. That's tough.
Don't go on Twitter.
But, yeah, I will not go on Twitter. Look, I think it's going to be the emphasis. A couple things, like first thing, this game specifically, this last game, I thought, having DK and Lockie gave us issues, and I think you saw Glenn seem to kind of try to scheme around, like, how can we slow these dudes down? They still doubled them at times, and they did their soft coverage against it. And again, I think what Seattle did was they took every pre-snap look the Lions were doing, and they attacked that. I mean, the third downs where we put two guys, up basically in the A-gap, like, that's not new. We've done that since Aaron Glenn walked in the building. And they just were like, you're lined up there, we're just going to hand the ball off, especially when they get a free look at it and come back and see the same thing. It's like, okay, that's probably not ideal to run the same thing. So I don't know how to say. I guess I think it was a tough matchup in places, but I do think one big thing that I'm curious to look out for, and I'm sure you guys are as well, is Jerry Jacobs coming back. Because I think Jerry coming back could make this defense, in a way, maybe figure out how they want to do things more specifically, because I think when you have Ermanni, who's not the stickiest man corner, and you're trying to play man, sometimes you see that gets exposed. And then there's times where he's not trusting them really on an island, so they're off like 8 yards if they're in man coverage, or they have to have help over top. I get this game matchup-wise, it was tough, but I look at that because I think a lot of teams, when you get to like their two, sometimes they're these more shiftier receivers. Last year we played Adam Thielen. Jacobs did awesome against him. So I look at that and say that may be something, if Jacobs comes back healthy, that could shift this defense a lot. I think if he was healthy with Okudah, and then you can play the matchups a little bit more, because right now they don't seem to be looking at like, hey, well, maybe we put Will in there. They don't seem like to think that's an improvement. So they're kind of just going off of, okay, here's what these two guys are, and we'll play through that. Because I mean, I look at the front. I don't think the defensive line's been bad. I actually think they've been fine, specifically against the run in this game. But then you're having, the creative plays outside, or you're doing all these play action things, and you got a lot of movement going on, and guys are lost at times, or they're just a little bit slow. But I think the Jerry Jacobs get back, if he comes back healthy, could change a lot of this defense.
Fair enough. Dion, appreciate you as always. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll talk soon, man. Got to have you on more often.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
well
I
done.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it,
I
Dion.
appreciate you guys. Good to see you this morning.
Always.
Likewise. All right, when we get back, Jared Goff, we have to talk about his stellar start to the season. Make sure you are commenting in the Woodward Sports chat and, of course, watching over at woodwardsports.com. We have so much and more coming up, but before we do, Jeff, the best defense on and off the field.
Let me tell you about it, guys. It's the complete opposite of what you've been seeing out of this Lions defense. It's Guardian Alarm, because fall is here, and let Guardian Alarm give you peace of mind while you're out enjoying the fall. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT today, and you can rest easy knowing you have 24/7 protection. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Liverpool.
Let them know
Go
your friends at Woodward
Rangers.
Sports sent you.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Time to talk about Swiss. Not Hammond Swiss, Swiss Insurance Group. Did you know that 1 in 6 kids will develop a medical condition that makes them uninsurable? Swiss Insurance can help you save money on your auto and home, resulting in no out-of-pocket cost to insure your children. Check with Mark at Swiss Insurance and make sure your family is protected.
All right, we are back, 9:32 here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you to everybody joining us over at woodwardsports.com and the Woodward Sports chat. Jeff, Jared Goff has been exceptional this year. Granted, 2 pick sixes, not ideal, but nonetheless, 11 touchdowns, tied for first place, I believe, with Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes through 4 games. How? Is it simply the Reynolds signing last year and Ben Johnson? Is it as simple as that?
I think it's a collection of things. Number one, it starts with Ben Johnson, because we know what Jared is. In his career, if you give him good coaching, and number two, if he has confidence, that's the key part, because he had good coaching in LA, but the last couple of years, he didn't have that confidence. The team didn't instill that confidence in him. But if you have good coaching, he's playing with confidence, and you have talent around him, or I guess you should say not even talent around him, because last week he played well, but he'll play well. He can be a quarterback that can at least win you games, possibly even playoff games. But for Jared, what I would attribute it to is those 3 things. It's now playing with the best offensive line you could argue he's ever had, playing with the weapons that he has currently, except for last week, and on top of that, being coached by Ben Johnson, which has been instrumental. We talk about last year, how the last year ended. 11 touchdowns, 2 picks when Ben Johnson took over as the pass game coordinator. But on top of that, Jared is just, you could just tell he has this swagger, he has this confidence that he didn't have last year, especially early on in the season. The fact that he has already 11 touchdowns in 4 games, he had 19 on the year last year. He played like 14 games. It shows me that, number one, the coaching is working, the talent, he's being more comfortable with his receivers, and I think Josh Reynolds is one of those guys because he already has chemistry with him dating back to their time playing with the Rams. But, Adam, I think a big part of it is because of that O-line, because of Ben Johnson, and because of the weapons he has available to him and the confidence he plays with. Because that's the number one thing for Jared, is just playing with confidence. And he's doing all of those things, and that's why he's having such, successful year so far, despite the 2 pick sixes. But on top of that, he's leading the league in touchdowns.
I think something we also have to consider is he was thrown away. He was dumped by his former team. And while he was in Detroit with no weapons, no confidence, at the lowest point probably of his professional career, you know what his former team was doing? You know what the quarterback they traded him away for was doing? They were competing and winning a Super Bowl.
Right.
That's tough, man. That's tough mentally. Last season was a drag for Jared Goff. As awful as he played, it doesn't help that Anthony Lynn was the guy for the first 8-10 weeks. But what happened when Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell took over? Jared Goff in his last 6 games, 3rd or 4th, I believe, highest passer rating in the NFL during that stretch. Not bad if you ask me. And then he went into the offseason. They made some moves. DJ Chark, Amon-Ra going into year 2. They draft Jameson Williams. They really put emphasis on supporting him.
Mm-hmm.
He comes out and delivers. And this looks like 2018 Goff. And it's very reminiscent because of the offensive line, how good it is, the ability to run the football, play action. It's all there. Hockenson emerging last week. That was a nice sight. And the reality is, I do think the personal side of you were dumped and you were kind of going through this emotional change physically and mentally. It's like, how do I get past this? Oh, cool, I'm throwing in nobodies right now. St. Brown was a nobody at the time. Hockenson wasn't doing much. The run game wasn't doing much. Nothing was working for the offense. Then they get something going towards the end of the year. And that confidence kind of, moved and bled over into the offseason. And you saw him on Hard Knocks. You saw him enjoying practices. Much more confident. Telling Dan Campbell, I've never been more confident in the guys I'm throwing to. I feel like they're going to go up and make a play whenever I throw it. You wouldn't have heard that last year.
Right.
So I do think it's time. I think it's the coaching he's working with now with Ben Johnson. The Josh Reynolds signing, I still think, is one of the underrated moves of the entire regime of Brad Holmes. I think it totally unlocked Jared Goff because it gave him comfort. It gave him somebody that he has a rapport with.
Right.
And so far, 4 games into the league year, do I think he's going to continue at this pace? No, I don't. But this is what you expect out of a Jared Goff, right? A few average games, a few below average games, and a few really great games. But more often than not, he's somewhere in the middle. That's Jared Goff. We all agree.
Right.
But the fact that he's found a way to not have the below average games and has consistently given you something, I think that is a credit to the coaching staff and him.
No, I'm with you. I think Ben Johnson, we've been talking about this since last October, but on top of having the best offensive line he's had, is that run game. And that also is attributed to Ben Johnson and how he is able to scheme things up to find different holes for even Jamal Williams, Craig Reynolds, these guys. So for Jared, we know how important it is for any quarterback to have a run game. That's a quarterback's best friend. But for Jared, he's had the most success in his history, in his career, with a run game. And I know he had Todd Gurley, but on top of that, this offensive line is doing wonders. And it's going to not only force teams to at least defend the run, it's giving Jared opportunities. He's getting into play action situations, and we know Jared and how good he is in play action. So Ben Johnson's just putting him in positions to succeed, and that's why the offense, we haven't had any issues, because those guys are firing on all cylinders, and they're not even 100% healthy. So listen, he's done everything and then some. He's done his job as a quarterback, but he's played exceptionally well. I didn't think he'd be number 1 in the NFL, tied with Lamar for passing touchdowns. I didn't think the Lions would be the score the most touchdowns in the NFL, and he's the quarterback of that offense. So give him credit where it's due, Adam, but I'm with you. I don't think he's going to lead the league in touchdowns when the year's over, but he's having a hell of a start.
I agree. Look, to clarify on Josh Pascal, he will be out 2 to 3 more weeks. That's when they'll look to activate him. And if I'm honest, that sounds right about the time we're going to see Jameson Williams, maybe.
Yeah, you're going to get some help soon.
I believe Jameson Williams should see the field in 2 to 3 weeks. A week or 2 at the latest after the bye. I don't think that's an impossible ask here. I think he just opens up the offense much more. But the reality is you need Pascal back. You're going to want Jerry Jacobs. You need whoever, whatever, to get this defense to at least, again, you're not asking for a top 5, top 10 defense. You're not asking for 3 takeaways a game.
Just give me a stop.
All I'm asking really is, hey, when the football team is playing a game, do you have a chance?
Right.
Can you keep the team in the game where the offense, which is the best unit between the two, can you give the offense a chance to go out and win you a football game? If you can do that more times than not, I like your chances for the rest of the year. The conversation we're going to have is, man, the offense to put up 31. Man, that defense gave up 35, 38, 33. I mean, we are in for a long season, Jeff.
Deshaun Elliott came out. I watched his presser yesterday, and I love what he said. And now I don't know how true or how much you're going to buy into it, but he said this defense needs to hold teams to at least 17 points, bare minimum, or bare maximum, I should say.
Who said that?
Deshaun Elliott. And that's just expectations because of his experience.
Drug test, NFLPA, NFL,
No,
somebody?
What I'm saying is I love that mentality. He understands that if we can keep this, any team we play to 17, we're going to win because of this offense they have. Now, can they do it? Probably not. But that's their approach they're going to take. So you just need a couple stops. This offense will do its job, and then led by Jared Goff. So give credit where it's due. And he's not even getting paid. If you look at quarterback salaries, by the way, Jared's like middle of the pack. And he's doing this stuff right here for you in Detroit. And you got 2 first-round picks from the Rams. So you couldn't be any happier with Jared Goff right now. He's probably the last of your concerns, this whole offense.
All right, look, the reality is if you go around the league, by the way, you look at scoring defenses, I mean, it gets tough. It gets tough. But you know what? Let's take a quick pause. When we get back, we got to talk some Detroit Pistons. We'll wrap up. We'll get to Mailbag, so make sure you're commenting in the Woodward Sports chat. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Boy.
Guys, for a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries are at Big Boy. It's not just the Slim Jim. It's the Big Jim. They have the chili cheeseburger. Guess what else is new? It's the bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries, by the way? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Get a shot up. This is for the win.
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Join the Pepper Club at Chili Peppers Tanning. You'll get all the best deals, plus they will beat all competitors by $5. Chili Peppers has the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans. 26 locations and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan?
All right. 9:42 here on the Morning Woodward Show. Thank you to everybody joining us over at woodwardsports.com. Jeff. It's almost that time of the year for the Detroit Pistons, no?
It is. Preseason starts today.
First game, go Pistons.
They're playing the New York Knicks.
Knicks
at
suck.
New York. Well,
Hey,
actually,
you want to have a therapy session?
You know, well, the Knicks suck. They're favored by 4. So what are we talking about here?
It's more of my my hatred. Towards
okay, and I can
New
respect
York.
that.
I'm sorry.
This will be the first time we see
Hear me
Cade
out. Hear me
and
out.
Jaden Ivey.
My issue with the
play
Knicks
together.
isn't that I don't love the brand or the Mecca. I hate your owner, James Dolan. James Dolan. Excuse me, James Dolan. No, excuse me. Sorry, Fish. Whatever. Don't worry about it. Anyways, the point is, I don't like the Knicks. They have a special place in my heart, kind of at the bottom, where the Bears are, where the New England Patriots are, and that's the part of my heart that I don't even acknowledge. It's just pure hatred. That's when I smoke. That's what happens. So, Pistons tonight. Cade Cunningham's how much muscle weight has he put on? 15
I believe
pounds?
15, 20 pounds. That's the
He
range.
looks jacked.
Yeah, no, he needed to add muscle. He did just that. On top of that, we get to see Cade and Jaden Ivey play together. You get to see guys, and listen, it's preseason. They're not going to play the entirety of the game. You're going to see a lot of different players involved. Guys that, might not even play this year are going to be playing in preseason. But the excitement is just to see these guys on the court. That's the number one thing you got to take away from this. I'm just ready to see Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes. I mean, if you were there for the open practice on Sunday, wasn't able to get there, but I was able to talk to a lot of people who were there, watch some film on it. And overall, my takeaway is, I guess not a takeaway is Cade Cunningham because we already know what he's going to do. But Killian Hayes, That's someone I'm going to be watching tonight because I'm excited. I want to see what Killian's bringing to the table. We saw all the work he's put in the offseason. His shot form looks different. He altered his shot a little bit. So, I'm just here to evaluate the players. I'm not taking it's preseason. This is exactly how you treat it in the NFL as well. Now, the NFL is much more physical, but when you're looking at it in the NBA, you're just trying to see what you have. I saw the Suns lose to an NBL team last week.
Yes, go 36ers!
The 36ers beat the Suns last week, Adam.
What country are they from?
Australia, the Adelaide 36ers beat the Suns by 10.
You know, Fish, I hope Australia goes under.
I mean, they're down under, so they could.
I hope they go under.
And that's why, Fish, I think that 36ers hit like 24 threes in that game. It's insane.
The 36ers. You know how stupid that sounds?
What about
the 36ers, man?
What about the 76ers or the 49ers?
Sound much better.
Fish, he's being judgmental.
Hey, 36ers beat
I hope
the Suns,
Australia goes under.
Okay, it's your opinion. I mean,
I'm ready for...
I can't help if it's your opinion.
Fish, I wish the Pistons played the 36ers. All right, because then we would have had the best of both worlds. You would have saw NBL, and you would have saw your other team.
I mean, there are a bunch of NBL teams that play NBA teams. There's more matchups than that one.
They do that every year. I actually like the NBA does that. But yeah, the Suns. That's about the point I was making is the Suns lost to the 36ers. So guys, who cares? It's preseason.
Suns are in so much trouble.
Go there and watch your favorite players. I'm excited, man. I mean, Madison Square Garden, place can be packed, man. I mean, even for preseason, first game of the year for preseason. It'll be ready. They have Jalen Brunson for the Knicks. Ooh, I know Abe's over there. Look at Brunson.
Have we had any update on the Kemba Walker dilemma?
No, he's. They're still trying to discuss that buyout. They're not gonna. It's not gonna be agreed upon until something gets discussed. It's gonna take a little bit longer. He's got to be cut by a certain point. I mean, you're not keeping him on the roster.
Yeah, just eat it. I mean,
that's probably what they're going to have to do.
You don't have a choice. Just eat. Well, whatever amount it is.
It's really, I think at this point, they're just deciding how much they're going to eat. Is it more or is it less? We'll see. He'll be cut. He's not going to be on the roster.
Fair enough. We'll see if Cade Cunningham can actually get to the free throw line this year. That would be something nice to see.
Oh, he'll get there.
I don't know. Maybe it's too intimidating for the referees. I see the season going one of two ways. He puts up 24, 6 and 6. Doesn't make the All-Star team. Doesn't make the All-NBA team, nothing. And then there's some dude in the league, probably Scotty Barnes, puts up 18, 7, and 5. All-Star, first team All-NBA, first team All-Defense. MVP. That's what we're going to have to deal with in this town. Hall of Fame player.
Yeah, Hall of Fame.
Unbelievable.
Gold jacket already.
Unbelievable. Feeling really good about the Jaden Ivey pick. Yeah. I think he's going to be a stud. I think he has a chance to be the best player coming out.
I'm ready to see
draft.
Isaiah Stewart shoot the ball. That's what I'm ready to see because that's all he's been doing during practice. Every day after practice, he stays after, he gets shots up. Jalen Duren stays after, gets shots up.
What about Jalen Duren, though? Jalen Duren was talked about as somebody who may just skip the G League. Somebody who they believe is ready, who has the physicality, the body for the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Ryan Terrell, that's Abe's guy. I mean, he's Jewish. He's a bucket. And
Who's the other Jewish guy?
The best
Not
white.
Hazonia, the one that Washington drafted, Israeli. What was his name? Yeah, whatever. He sucked.
Omri Caspi, I remember him.
That was an embarrassment to your country.
I did not know he was Jewish.
Or your people, I should say. Yeah, I'm sorry. Your people. Don't worry, my people don't play basketball, so we're not getting anywhere.
I would love to see an Arab.
They made it to the semifinals of the finals of the Asian Cup.
Yeah, it's the Asian Cup. I mean, that's like us. That's like, I don't know. That's like throwing the best soccer team in the world in the MLS and saying, "Oh, they won the MLS Cup." It's not an accomplishment. Sorry, buddy.
Okay.
I like you're trying to be supportive, but no, that's not it.
Okay.
All good.
Love Fish.
Sorry,
Fish is the GOAT. Fish is the real rookie of the year, not Scott.
Fish, I don't know how you deal with me. Jeff, you can go figure out if your car got towed or not. When we get back, mailbag time on the Woodward Sports Chat. Make sure you leave your comments on the Woodward Sports Chat. We'll get all of your questions in. We'll answer as many as possible. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Odds Trader.
Well, guys, I'm gonna need some betting money if I gotta go get my car out from a tow truck. So where I get my money is I go to Odds Trader because it's the #1 site for all your game day bets, play-by-play updates, live scores, and the best price on every game from multiple sports books. Go to oddstrader.com right now for your best bet.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
And we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Thank you all for joining us over at woodwardsports.com. To everybody in the Woodward Sports chat, let's get started with Mailbag. Adam, are you really going to the MSU Ohio State as a caser?
Well, you
Hello?
said you were going in as I forget.
Oh, Caesar.
Yeah,
Caesar. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to the game.
Do you have tickets?
I'm dressing up as Julius Caesar.
Are you going to the
And I'm
actual
going to wait
game
for
or just-
Scotty Hazelton to give up 115 points to Ohio State, and I will charge the field, and you know the rest. Worse. Remember, in the 1300s, we could hang people publicly.
1300s, more like 1800s.
So, I'm going to take care of business for all of Spartan Nation.
Hey, are you going to the game or are you just going to
I'm going
party?
to kill. Well, I can't say that, so never mind. Abe's here.
You can say allegedly. You can say allegedly. There we go.
Allegedly. Goff at quarterback is like any Tigers pitcher this year, knowing he has to play a perfect game or give up 0 runs. I think Fetter and Goff have had a powwow. Honestly, you know what, Broder? I don't think Goff is looking at it like, hey, I need to have a perfect game. It's what more can I do, right? He doesn't need to play perfect to win. It's what more do I have to do as an individual? I'm throwing 2-3 touchdowns a game. I'm throwing for 200-300 yards a game. What more do you want? Now, the pick sixes don't help, but neither does not punting. On the defensive side of the ball, not forcing a punt sucks. Adam, who do you think would do better if they switched jobs, Coach Campbell or Coach Tucker?
Ooh. Can I say neither?
I think Mel Tucker would be a better coordinator. I do think Tucker would be a better coordinator. I think Dan is either he's successful in the NFL or he will never have a coordinator / head coaching job ever again. It's that simple. By the way, excuse me, congratulations, Robert Saleh and the Jets, 2-2.
Yes.
Receipts? What is it?
Who's got the better record?
The Jets do. I saw it. I ignored it for a reason.
I know. Put a little heart emoji.
Yeah.
Hurts my soul.
Appreciate it as always. Does Dan Campbell look petty as hell after his buddy AG's defense gave up 41 to go up to the podium and immediately throw the Goff interception under the bus? That was despicable. Mark, you know what? I don't think that gets talked enough about. I didn't appreciate that comment. The first comment he made after a 48-45 loss was, you know what? Jared played a good game. That pick six, man. You just can't give the other team points. Excuse me? Oh, my goodness. I'm boiling inside.
But everyone's talking about that pick six.
Adam, do you seriously think Michigan is a national title contender? I do. They've got the... Did it get towed?
Yeah, it's gone. No.
It's good?
Yeah, we're good.
Where'd you park?
Across the street.
All right. You came back that fast? I'm proud of you. Well done.
I ran.
He probably ran.
I was just showing like Jay Nivey speed across the street. I was running.
All right.
You didn't go out to the station
Jesse.
down there?
Jesse asks, what's a worse take? Easy saying Goff is the reason the Lions lost on Sunday, or Maz/Ryan saying they wanted Baker at quarterback for the Lions.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to go the Baker one.
The Baker's terrible.
As much as I think Easy's take makes no sense.
Press conference?
Yeah, he said he doesn't care or something like that, whatever. Baker Mayfield sucks. He's the definition of an awful quarterback. The Browns had every right to move off of him. He was fortunate Kevin Stefanski came to town and made him look like a decent quarterback.
Right.
Baker Mayfield sucks. He 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 sucks.
Does he suck?
He sucks. Just so you guys know, he sucks.
How do you feel about him?
I feel great. All right, was MCDC calling out that pick six an answer to a reporter's question? If so, that's important context.
I want to speak on this too, because people, because this is one of Easy's arguments. Well, he brought up Jared Goff's pick six first, so clearly it's Jared Goff's fault, right? My personal theory on that, the reason why he brought up Jared Goff first, is to try and deflect from the defense. Like, if you walk, what is he going to do? Walk into the press conference? All right, guys. Defense sucks ass. We can't stop anybody. We didn't get a single punt.
That's very
he's going to
true.
walk in there and be like, well, you know, Jared Goff's pick 6. Yeah, we didn't force a single punt, but you know, ultimately that pick 6, although I didn't agree with it, I get why he did it. He was trying to kind of push the heat off of Aaron Glenn a little bit. So that's why he brought that up. Now, do I really feel like he feels Jared Goff's the reason why they lost that game? No. You think he's self-aware enough to know that the defense really was at fault for that performance? Yes. But that's the reality. He's coming in, he's trying to calm everything down, brings up Jared Goff rather than throwing Aaron Glenn right under the bus. So that's why I feel like he brought Jared Goff up first. Now, do I agree with it? No, but that's why he did it.
All right, Adam and Jeff, is it wrong to say some of the rookies on defense, we need to give them time, and can I get a shout-out for my birthday, please? And thank you, Scott Klingler in the chat. Happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
Appreciate you watching
A lot
every
of
day
good stuff to enjoy today.
here at Woodward Sports.
Always.
To answer your question, yeah, rookies need time. Of course they do. I'm not here criticizing rookies. I don't think you are either.
No.
This is a coaching issue. Aiden Hutchinson should not be over pursuing. We're 4 games into the season. Grow up.
And you got to
And not only grow up, coach. What do you do all week?
Right.
Coach these players. I'm not asking for much. You give up 27 a game, I have to live with it. I know you're not there yet on defense. I know you're not there. That doesn't mean you giving up 30, 40, 48 a game is acceptable. It just isn't. You have to try so hard to actually let a team go a whole game without punting. You know how hard that is?
It's extremely hard.
God. All right, let's see what other questions we have in the chat. Hi. Would you do Higbee, CMC, and Gabe Davis for Dalvin Cook and Mark Andrews? Hell no.
Oh. Wait, what side are you on that trade? What side are you?
Not me.
No, like what players are yours from that trade, the proposal?
It's somebody in our league texted me asking me if I would do it if I was him. He'd give up Cook and Andrews for Higbee, CMC, and Gabe Davis.
Oh.
God,
Ooh,
no.
no.
Seems a stretch.
God, no.
No, that's a hard pass.
Yeah, Abu T, don't text me during the show, man. What's wrong with you? What personnel changes on defense do you expect to see versus New England?
Personnel, that's the one I'm going to be looking for because if Josh Pascal returns to practice,
He's not
he's not going to play.
Yeah, not for 2-3
He's not
more
going to play. He's not going to play. But he's coming back to practice this week. Jerry Jacobs is coming back. He'll be playing. Listen, the change I'm most looking forward to seeing is number one, not a 0 blitz package on 3rd and 15. Please, that's all I ask for because it screwed them twice. But we'll see. I think it's more so schematic changes, which I'm curious to see. Do they go back to a 3-4 defense, 4-3? What are they running, a 4-2-5 right now? I'm going to be watching a lot of things, but personnel is probably the last. I'll be paying attention to the schematic side of things. That's the most important to me. Scheme.
All right, let's see what other questions we have in the Woodward Sports chat. Do y'all think we should play A.J. Parker now? That's from Eric.
AJ's not here anymore.
I got to ask the questions, Jeff.
Wait, what was the question? He said, should we play A.J. Parker?
Oh, God.
He's not even on the roster. He was cut.
Oh, God.
Unfortunately, by the way, A.J. was a good corner last year. But yeah, he was cut. Unless he's on the practice squad, he might be. But yeah, no,
Jeff.
sorry. This is, you're bringing in backups Jerry Jacobs and Josh Pascal and Romeo Ricora.
Oh, God.
We need all the help we can get on defense.
Jeff, is there a chance Ivy averages more points per game than Cade this season?
I would bet both my left and right nut that he does not average more points than Cade Cunningham. There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell. Now, eventually, down the line, can I see Jay Ivey being this ultra? Because I've always said this. Cade may be your best player, but he may not lead your team in scoring. I do believe that. But his first year, no. I would be shocked if Cade doesn't average more points than Jay Ivey. If he averages more points than Cade, he should win Rookie of the Year. I mean, point blank.
Oh, no. I think if Ivy comes out year one, puts up 23, 5, and 4.
Oh, dude, he's Rookie of the Year.
No, he's not. No, he's not, Jeff.
Adam, 23, 5, and 4?
Stop it. Yeah, he puts up 27.
That's all-star numbers.
Doesn't matter. It's not good enough for these voters, right? It's not good enough for these voters. Why should it be good enough for me? Why? You guys tell me. Why should it be good enough for me?
Listen, I can help you. You're right.
It's not good enough.
It's
not good.
Media?
Chet Holmgren
Yeah.
should win Rookie of the Year. He's not going to play a single game. He should win Rookie of the Year. Over 23, 5, and 4, Jaden Ivey, 100%. That's the logic we have out in the
Keegan
NBA
Murray's
world.
15, 4, and 4, 15, 2, and 2.
100%, because he plays on a winning team, though. God, give me the patience to deal with this basketball season, because I swear to you, I'm going to take a bat, and I'm going to go find some of these writers.
Hey, Chuck
And
said
you
it
know
the
the
best. If Cade gets his 24 and Ivy outscores them, we're going to the playoffs. You said it best, Chuck. I mean, there's playoffs.
All right, well, look, we're out of here. It's 10 o'clock. Appreciate all of you for joining us this morning. Make sure you check out Big D Energy over at woodwardsports.com at 11 a.m. in just about an hour. Appreciate you guys. As always, Wednesday jam-packed show. We'll get a few guests on. Maybe we'll get Mike on as well.
Mike.
We will see you guys tomorrow morning.
Go watch Champions League. It's going to be a great day.